Welcome to this C# programming tutorial. In this video, we'll be talking about data types and variables. Here are our objectives. We'll describe what a data type is. We'll outline the different types of data types. We'll also declare variables using different data types. And we're going to come up with a very simple exercise that is going to help us to apply the different data types and how we link data types to their variables. So now, what is a data type? A data type describes the format and size of, in this case, the amount of memory occupied by a data item, and dictates what types of operations can be performed. In the previous video where we talked about variables, where I introduced you about variables, I'll link it in a description below, or I'll show it at the top of the screen. We introduced that variables need to occupy a space in memory. So how do we make sure that they occupy a space in memory? We declare them using a data type, right? There are different kinds of data types, right? So in this stage, I am just going to show you the data types that you're going to be using very often in your programming career. There is what we call a string. So a string is a text-based type. So for example, string X equal to Nsovo. Remember in the last video, we said strings should be encapsulated or should be enclosed within two quotes, right? So you see those double quotes you see before and after my name, that's how we write strings. So every time you write a text-based, anything text-based, you know that you're working with a string. And then we have an int. An int is integer-based. So numbers like 10, 9, 0, -1, no decimals, -1, -5, those are int types. So when you want to store an int type, you declare an int. For example, int x equal to 10. So in other words, in computer memory, we have a space that is going to store 10, which is of integer type. And then thirdly, we have doubles. Doubles are more like ints, but they are a superset of ints. What do I mean by a superset? I would say an int is a smaller version, and a double encapsulates more than the int because it also includes decimals. So a double can be 0.1 and it can be 1, which can be rewritten as 1.0, right? So a double can hold what int can hold. So that's what I'm trying to say. So if an int is 10, a double can also be 10, and a double can also be 10.5, for example. It can handle more than an int because it has decimals. That's what a double is. It's a decimal-based type. So 10.0, 1.0, or whatever, -2.5, as long as it has a decimal. Even if it doesn't have a decimal, the computer or C# knows that, okay, this thing has to be a -2.0 if it doesn't have like any decimal. Right, so we now have the char or the car, depends on how you describe it, how you pronounce it. But a char is of a single character type. So it's a single character based type. For example, if you want to store one character like A or B or C in computer memory. For example, we used A in this case. So A is going to be stored in X, and because we declared a char, now the computer memory knows that it needs to open up a space for just a single character so that it can store the X, which has A in it, right? And then finally, but not least, we have a bool. So a bool is a true or false type. So any Boolean variable only contains true or false. So it can only contain that. So nothing hectic like doubles and ints and strings where you can have a lot of things. Here it's very simple. Either X is true or false. So those are the 5 basic data types that you'll be using most of the time. So now let's head over to Visual Studio and see how we can declare these types and how we can actually get our hands dirty using these. As you can see, I've already created a console project. So we have the skeleton, and it has nothing in it, so we just have a skeleton. We are going to be playing around with the different types, with a different data type. We said we had a, for example, let's say string, right? String X, and this in programming, especially in C# programming, is what we call declaration, right? So we have string X. So this means that in computer memory, we have allocated a space for a string type, right? So we have allocated a space of string type. But as you've seen in my slides, you've seen that I put something in X. In programming, that's what we call assigning. In other words, X, for example, is equal to, in that case, was Nsovo. This in programming, it's not equal to. Remember, this is not mathematics where X equal to that means equal to. No. In programming, especially in C# and most other programming languages, the equal sign or the single equal sign does not mean equal sign. It means assignment. So this means we already have a space in memory that is going to hold a string type, right? And the name of that space in memory is X. Now, that space needs to be assigned a string. So we are assigning this name to X. So in other words, we are not saying X is equal to Nsovo, but we are saying Nsovo is assigned to X. That is the correct terminology. So Nsovo is assigned to X, or your name or Jeff is assigned to X, right? So this is very important. Again, we can declare an int type, let's say int y, as it's suggested for us. So y, we can say y equal 5. Of course, I am saying equal 5 because, mathematically that makes sense to me. But in programming, we don't say that. So it's 5 assigned to y. If you hear me saying y equal 5, just know that it's just a force of habit, but it's 5 assigned to y. So we are assigning 5 to y. We have an int y, and then now let's come up with double. Let's say double a, right? So a, because it's a double, it can hold let's say 0.1 in this case. We have 0.1 assigned to a, and then let's say char c, and then c is going to be assigned just an a. Or another thing that I didn't mention that side is that characters have single quotes and strings have double quotes. I forgot to outline that. So a char type always has a single quote, and a string has double quotes. And these number types, I can call them number types, doubles and ints, they don't require any quotes. They're just as that. So then we have C, and then we also have bool, let's say B, right? So we know that B can either be true or false. This is what it actually means, right? B can either be true or false. Now let's come up with an example that is going to help us understand what is actually going on here. Right, so as you can see, coming up with examples and exercises can be a little bit hard because this is so uncreative. Right, so we have this exercise that is going to, that we say write a simple calculator app, state your name, age before, name and age before your calculation. So something like, my name is Jeff, aged 12, and I'm going to be your calculator for the day, something like that. We're just being creative here. So I'm just going to be your calculator for the day, and say, let's say 1 + 1 equals 2, 1 + 1 equal whatever. So now let's see the plan of that code. So another thing that I'm going to teach you today is to use a very simple line so that we avoid writing console each and every time, right? So we're going to add using static console like that. So this will make us just write the right line like this instead of saying console.writeLine each and every time. So as you go on in your programming career, you'll learn that this is a class, and in that class we have methods such as writeLine and read lines. So you can just have it in this library section so that you can just use the methods themselves, right? So this saves us a lot of time instead of just writing long lines like console.write line, console.read line each and every time. So that's just a simple thing that is going to save us a lot of time. So now let's have the plan ready. So we know that we are going to state our name and age before the calculation, right? So this is just a plan, don't worry. So we have write line, and we know that because our name is a string, so we're just going to have those double quotes right there. So we're going to say, hi, my name is, let's use someone else's name, Jeff, age, let's say 14, right? So we have a simple write line. Hi, my name is Jeff, aged 14. I'll be your calculator for the day. So we have that as our introduction. So now let's see how we can do our calculations. So in my mind, I want us to deal with just 5 plus 5. So we want to do operations, right? So I want us to do with 5 and 5. So I want us to deal with let's say 5 and 2. Let's say 5 and 2. So I want us to deal with 5 and 2 for today. So when we do our calculations, we know that we are going to use numbers. And we just learned about using variables, right? So in other words, we are going to declare and assign variables at the top, right? So let's say int x. What I'm doing now is I am declaring and assigning at the same time. This is allowed. So int x equal to 5. You remember last time we just said int x, and then you say semicolon, and then we said x equal 5. But we are allowed to actually write it in just a single line and say int x equal 5 and int y equal 10. So let's just take that as because it's suggested to us. So hi, my name is Jeff, aged 14. I'll be your calculator for the day. So we have int x and y being equal to 10. All right, so our calculation, let's see how we can use our variables inside a write line statement. So inside a write line statement, variables do not need to put in quotation marks, just like integers and doubles, right? So in other words, to get 5 plus 10, we can say x plus y like this, and the console is going to produce 15 for us. But this is not really nice, right? So because we are programmers and we are trying to make the next person's job to be easier. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have a message before our calculation. So we're going to say 5 plus 10 is equal to a placeholder like this, and in that placeholder we put a 0, right? So this placeholder is going to be where this calculation will be stored. So you see this placeholder, it's very important. So 5 plus 10 is equal to this placeholder. This placeholder is where x plus y will be stored. So if x plus y is 15, the value of x plus y will be put inside this placeholder. So now if we try to run this, we should be able to see, hi, my name is Jeff, aged 14, I'll be your calculator for the day. And then next line we have 5 plus 10 is equal to 15. Now let's see how that goes. And so, hi, my name is Jeff, aged 14, I'll be your calculator for the day. 5 plus 10 is equal to 15, right? So this is a simple way of how we can use variables. Again, let's say we wanted to not hard code the age of Jeff, right? So let's say we wanted to just have a variable for Jeff's age. So in other words, we can say int age, because you can just name it whatever you want. You can just say int age is equal to 14, right? So instead of coming here and write the actual 14, we can come and say placeholder like that. And again, I don't want to hard code Jeff's name, because what if it's someone else who is interacting with our program, right? So what if it's someone else who is interacting with our program? So again, we don't want to hard code names. So in other words, names are strings. We can just come and say string name is equal to, let's say, Jeff. We forgot to put quotes, so Jeff, like that, right? So we don't want to hard code their name. So we know that this is hi, my name is placeholder. So now let's put a placeholder. This is 0, and if that is 0, this must be 1, right? So at the end, what you do is what your first placeholder was, you need to put your first variable so that it corresponds. So the name is for the 0 and the age is for the 1, just like that, right? So name will go to 0 and age will go to the placeholder 1. So hi, my name is placeholder, aged that, I'll be your calculator for the day. And then right line, 5 plus 10 is equal to x plus y, is equal to x plus y. So now let's run this and see if it's still the same as last time. So as you can see, hi, my name is Jeff, aged 14, I'll be your calculator for the day. 5 plus 10 is equal to 15. So it's still working, right? Okay, another, it's not very necessary, the one that I'm about to do right now, but let's see how characters work like, right? So let's declare a character and call it plus, for example, because let's say we wanted to remove this plus sign and use a variable for it. So we're just learning about characters in this case. So let's say char equal char plus. So in the plus sign, in the plus variable, we're just going to use the plus sign because the plus sign is a character, remember? So that's the plus sign. So in other words, we can come and remove this plus sign and put a placeholder like this. If this is 0, then this must be 1, and the first one before x plus y needs to be plus, the variable name. So we have plus right there, right? So we just learned about ints and strings, chars. So now let's run this. So hi, my name is Jeff, aged 14, I'll be your calculator for the day. 5 plus 10 is equal to 15, right? This is basically what is going on. So you could have said double here, because remember, a double is a superset of an int. So a double for x and a double for y would have worked. A double for age as well would have worked, right? So, and then string name char plus. So in the following videos, I'll be coming up with some exercises, new exercises that we're going to help us understand this stuff. We'll also be doing booleans, right? So in this video, we will not be doing booleans because I still need to find some exercises that are suitable for this stage to use booleans. So, but I'll try to find them. So for now, ints, strings, chars, and booleans will do for now. I hope this video was fruitful and I hope you learned something today. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this. If you like videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe. I will see you in the next video.